Brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066. And by the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Visit gov.ky/steps to learn more. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel. Cayman's bigger, better network.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the Record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees. So fair. Today is Friday, the 21st day of July 2023, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. And I know that this caution is falling on some deaf ears. Some of those persons who we would love to reach are probably already in their offices because they have crossed me on the road coming down at 6:15 this morning, so we know that they're already set in there. But those are the ones who are changing lanes, coming from the extreme left lane all the way over to the right lane, 3 lanes of traffic, and endangering everyone else on the road. But we're going to still continue to ask you to exercise caution. We're going to continue to ask you to ensure that you observe the rules of the road. We're going to continue to remind you that the life you save may just be your own. Because while many of you youngsters believe that you are invincible, you are not. And your life can be snuffed out in a second if you don't ensure that you observe the rules of the road and if you don't ensure that you exercise caution. So whether you're a pedestrian, whether you're a cyclist, or if you're operating in a type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please observe the rules of the road. The life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday. Or if you celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday to you as well. And to remind you that the For the Record birthday shout-outs are brought to you by More Than Words, your gateway to local books and more. Connect to your culture, tap into your roots. More Than Words, located on the 2nd floor of the Thompson Building. And Pizza Boat. They are now open in Queens Court on West Bay Road. Hop on board the Pizza Boat Express. Pizza Boat makes pizza even more fun. You can pick up or you can have it delivered. All you have to do is call 949-0000 or order online via www.pizzaboat.ky. For those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you may know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. This morning, again, it is that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and at 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to Radio Cayman live stream. Don't forget, we are on Facebook as well. And to remind you that this segment of For the Record is the birthday shout-out segment, and it is proudly brought to you by More Than Words, your gateway to local books and more. You can connect to your culture. You can tap into your roots. More Than Words, you will find them on the second floor of the Thompson Building. And Pizza Boat, now open in Queens Court on West Bay Road. Hop on board the Pizza Boat Express. Pizza Boat makes pizza even more fun. Pick up or delivery, you can do that by calling 949-0000 or order online via www.pizzaboat.ky. So let's see who's celebrating birthday today or on the weekend as well. So we have Mr. Cassidy Jackson. Mr. Cassidy Jackson celebrating a birthday today. We want to give a big shout out to Mr. Cassidy Jackson and his wife, Miss Esther Jackson, as well. Also, Robin Walton celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday to Robin Walton. And Mickey Spice also celebrating a birthday today. And who will be celebrating a birthday tomorrow, July the 22nd, Saturday? Christopher Mark Durant, celebrating a birthday. Oh, hey, look who's celebrating his birthday tomorrow. Mr. Kristen Suku, he's celebrating a birthday tomorrow as well. So happy birthday when it comes, Kristen. Rudy Rich celebrating his birthday tomorrow, as well as Jermaine Edwards also celebrating a birthday tomorrow. And we even have someone who's celebrating a birthday on Sunday. Mr. Mario Rankin is celebrating his birthday on Sunday, so we want to wish Mr. Mario Rankin a happy birthday when it comes on Sunday as well. And if you know someone else who's celebrating a birthday, please let us know. And just for those of you who know, wondering about Mickey Spice and Jermaine Edwards, they are both Jamaican recording artists, Jamaican singers. So we have included them as well. And again, to remind you one more time that these birthday shout-outs on For the Record are brought to you by More Than Words, your gateway to local books and more. Connect to your culture, tap into your roots. More Than Words, located on the second floor of the Thompson Building. And Pizza Boat, they are now open on Queens Court, on West Bay Road. So you can hop on to the Pizza Boat Express. Pizza Boat, they make pizza even more fun. You can pick up or you can have them delivered. All you have to do is call 949-0000 or online www.pizzaboat.ky. little trivia for you. Those of you who may not have realized it, and you may ask yourself the question, where were you when this actually occurred? So yesterday was the 54th anniversary of the Apollo 11 landing. 51st anniversary of the Apollo 11 landing took place yesterday as well. So those of you who may not have realized it, that is what happened. And ask yourself the question, where were you on the 54 years ago when the Apollo 11 moon landing took place as well? Want to share, before we go to a commercial break, we want to share with you some additional information as well. This is extremely important. And this one caught my eye because I'm part of this generation as well. We do know that, while Radio Cayman does have a varied listening audience, mixed audience, and the reason that we have that is because we here on Radio Cayman try to cater to all segments of the Caymanian society, as well as the listening public, whether in Cayman or otherwise. So, there are shows for younger folks. There are shows for those persons who like to listen to Caribbean music, those who like to listen to old rock and roll and various types of music. So we reach a wide and diverse audience right here on Radio Cayman. We know that older folks prefer to listen to Radio Cayman as well. So here is what I'm going to share with you, coming from the Health Services Authority, where they are now offering new geriatric service for patients 60 years and over. This is extremely important, so I want you to listen to it. If you know persons who are not aware of this, please encourage them or share the YouTube feature of For the Record this morning, and this may have been on our Radio Cayman News as well. But this is extremely important to our older folks here in the Cayman Islands. So, older people living in the Cayman Islands will now be able to access specialized geriatric medical care through the Health Services Authority. Through the Health Services Authority's specialist clinic located at the Smith Road Medical Center. So at the Smith Road Medical Center, you will now be able to access the specialized geriatric medical care that is offered by the Health Services Authority. The release goes on to say that geriatric medical care involves the study, diagnosis, and treatment of diseases or conditions associated with older adults, including multiple chronic conditions, functional decline, dementia, and frailty. The introduction of this service will provide high-quality patient-centered care for persons 60 years of age and older, helping them to live comfortably and improve their life expectancy. It says that approximately 12% of the Cayman Islands population is 60 years and older. Folks, you hear that? Approximately 12% of our population here in the Cayman Islands is 60 years and older. And that is according to the 2021 Population and Housing Census Report. So, Medical Director Dr. Delroy Jefferson has noted that the expansion of the specialist clinics services to include geriatric is a result of the Health Services Authority actively addressing the medical and welfare needs of members of the community. He goes on to say that, and I quote, the Cayman Islands has a growing elderly population, and as such, we must cater to these individuals requiring more attention by virtue of their age and conditions to which they are susceptible in order to ensure a better quality of life and care. That's a quote from Dr. Jefferson. The article goes on to say that this service will be delivered by the authority's first geriatrician, the authority's first geriatrician, Dr. Glaister Bell, I hope I'm pronouncing that well, who has indicated that he takes a holistic approach to the care of older adults, addressing more than the physical aspect of health. He's quoted as saying, I get acquainted with other areas that impact their overall health, such as specific and common disorders, the social areas that have direct or indirect impact on their well-being, the psychological components, the spiritual, and more. Dr. Bell holds a Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, a Doctor of Medicine in Family Medicine, and has subspecialty training in geriatric medicine, all from the University of the West Indies, Mona. He has years of experience working as a medical officer in emergency departments and as a general practitioner in Jamaica, Anguilla, the British Virgin Islands, and at the Health Services Authority. So, persons who are interested in booking an appointment with Dr. Bell do not require a referral. So, that's important to remember. If you're interested, you do not require a referral unless required by your health insurer. So, if your health insurer requires you to have a referral, then you must have that referral. So I'm going to read that again. Person interested in booking an appointment with Dr. Bell do not require a referral unless required by the health insurer. To book an appointment, you can call 949-8600. And of course, if you want to read the full story, you can do that on www.hsa.ky/articles to read the article as well. But the main important thing is that the Health Services Authority is now offering their new geriatric service for patients over 60 and over at the Smith Road Medical Center. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we do have a guest in the studio. I will introduce that guest. We will have about 10 minutes or so, and then we will go to headline 8 o'clock news. And then after that, when we return, we will have a long discussion with our guest. I won't tell you who that guest is until we return, so please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
John Theophilus Bodden, 1883 to 1969. Certificate of Honor.
Theophilus Bodden served the District of East End with distinction for many years. Several times he was elected as a vestryman. He was an ordained elder of the East End Adventist Church, which he served for 53 years. He was married to Claudina Nee Jackson, with whom he had 4 children. He was a seaman and later a farmer and fisherman. While sailing on the United States ships, he was shipwrecked twice. The first time, the men were with the ship for 16 days before being rescued. The second time, they were adrift in a life raft for 12 days. Mr. Borden touched the lives of many people in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
All aboard the Pizza Boat! Cayman's newest pizzeria. Birthday parties, office luncheons, summer camps, game night. Whatever your occasion, bring the fun with Pizza Boat. Add Cayman twist to pizza, bringing fusion ingredients from all over the globe to give you locally inspired, fresh pizzas all day, every day. What's more, now you can enjoy a boat-shaped pizza with toppings of your choice. It's Pizza Boat. Pizza Boat, now open in Queens Court on West Bay Road. Pick up or delivery 949-0000 or order online www.pizzaboat.ky. Pizza Boat. Experience the ultimate pizza voyage.
The STEPS 2023 National Health Survey is now in full swing, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness would like to thank the community for their ongoing support of this endeavor. Participants who have completed Steps 1 and 2 of the survey are reminded to complete Step 3 by July the 31st. Any survey participant needing additional support or information can contact mhwsteps@gov.ky or call 936-4969.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
No, man. I'm tired of seeing a new charge on my phone bill every month.
You are always complaining about that bill. I think it's time you make that switch to Digicel.
I've been with my network for more than a decade. I don't know if I want to move over now.
Well, better later than never. When you switch to Digicel, you get better speeds, more data, and simply more value. Best of all, no dishonest practices. What they say is what you get. Make that switch today and get 50% off your first 2 months.
50% off my first 2 months? Mary, you're convincing me now. Okay, I'll visit a Digicel store near me.
Experience the bigger, better network. Switch your postpaid number to Digicel for 50% off your first 2 months or get a free 30-day Prime bundle for prepaid customers. Make the switch today.
Are you feeling sick but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough, and sore throat to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Before I introduce my guest, just want to say that there's some breaking news in the world. The great singer, legendary Tony Bennett has passed away at the age of 96. He is renowned for songs such as The Way You Look Tonight, Body and Soul, and I Left My Heart in San Francisco. So with that, it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me for about 5 minutes. No, he'll be here longer than that. He'll be here until 10 o'clock. None other than Honorable Kenneth Bryan, Minister with constitutional responsibility for tourism and ports. Minister Bryan, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and thank you so much for that amazing introduction. It's always a pleasure to be on here with you. I must say that. Good morning, K-Man. Good morning to those who are listening via the radio, those who are listening via YouTube, and those who are listening via Facebook. I'm so happy to see that Radio K-Man is extending its arms all over the place and in all mediums. Next, we will get them on Instagram, so we can have Instagram live, touch into all the different generations. This morning, I'm here to talk about 4 main things and then open it up to the public.
Okay.
And in the interest of time, because before we go to the break, we're not going to get into the specifics of the 4 areas until after the 8 o'clock news headlines. But the 4 topics are the minimum wage, which is currently doing a consultation with the community. And it's important that the public gets involved in a survey that they're doing to give us a report so we can select a new minimum wage for the country. Also, I have a press release from our ministry with some amazing numbers that we've done for the first half of the year. Also, we're going to be talking about a press conference that we'll be having on Monday with a new CAL route that we'll be announcing on Monday.
Wow.
And also talking about housing in the Cayman Islands. The Housing Task Force met yesterday and had a long discussion about the many issues that we're facing in respect to housing in the Cayman Islands, from availability of housing to the cost of housing, the types of housing, affordable, social, apartment complex zonings, all of those stuff. As you know, we're having some hurdles with that. And I'm going to take it from there after having those discussions, open it up to the public and hear from them what they want to talk about. It's important that I periodically stop in here, even if I don't have a lot to talk about, to hear from the Caymanian people and the people who live in our community at large. So those are the things we're going to be talking about. And in the interest of time, I just should take some of those topics that are going to be really quick. So on Monday, we'll be having a press conference, and I will be having a special guest visitor from overseas joining us, another member of parliament from a different country, to join me in the announcement of a new route. And to give you guys a little bit of a teaser, the MP, the minister of that country, will be joining me to announce the route to the specific country. So I'm not allowed to tell you where the new location we're going to be flying to until Monday morning. But I'm happy to say that we're going to be, again, flying a new route. This will be the 3rd new route within less than a year. I'm really happy with the work that the chairman and the CEO and my ministry staff and the DOT staff have been doing to meet our strategic policy statement for diversification into new routes across the world, to ensure that our tourism numbers are doing what they're supposed to do. And in my next announcement shortly, it'll show you that it's working because the revenue numbers are amazing. But we'll get to that in a minute. So we're going to be launching a new route on Monday. We're going to have a minister from another country join me to announce that from within the region. I'll leave it there. And the CEO and the chairman for Cayman Airways will be joining me on the GIS press conference. Let me just make sure that I have exactly
people will like. They will like what they're going to hear.
I think they will. I think they will. People in Cayman. So the press conference starts at 11 a.m. on Monday, and it will be on CIG TV, on Facebook, and on YouTube, and all the government channels. I wish it could be. I'm not sure if it's going to be running live from here on Radio Cayman, but hopefully, Radio Cayman will re-air it again at some other point. I'll just give you one hint, and then I'll move on to the next topic. That when you think about what Cayman Airways have been doing, I like to think of it like a compass. We've always been doing the northern routes, New York and Miami, Florida, Denver, and so forth. We decided to go west with the LAX and Los Angeles, and we just went south with Panama. And if you can think about your compass being north, west, east, and south, you can figure out which one we're missing and go from there to get an idea.
Okay, folks, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned. For the record, with Minister Kenneth Bryan will continue after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Price Right is 8 o'clock.
Summer is heating up.
And Priced Right is sizzling.
Splash down into Priced Right Sizzling Summer for a chance to dive into our prize pool worth over $2,000.
Between now and July 31st, your purchase of $100 or more gives you a chance to compete for one of 20 prize packs with the best summer electronics and home goods.
That'll be sure to keep you cool and your summer hot.
Promotion only valid at Priced Right at the Airport Center. For more info, go to fosters.ky/Priced Right Summer.
Summer better for less at Priced Right.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Island.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller.
The chair program concept is a good start.
The opposition welcomes the Cayman Home Energy Efficiency Retrofits program launch. The cheer program aims to implement energy initiatives for Caymanians on lower incomes and living in smaller homes, and will provide energy savings for qualified lower income families facing high monthly utility bills. Priority consideration is being given to elderly, families with children, and those with diagnosed health conditions. Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Joey Hughes, says more can be done, though.
While I welcome this initiative, there are several shortcomings with the government's approach. For example, by needing to prove a relatively high level of existing consumption, the government is excluding families, especially those on low incomes, who are already taking measures such as reducing AC consumption because of the cost of living crisis. Yet these could be some who need the most help.
He says other options could include government-guaranteed loans arranged with local banks to assist in retrofitting personal homes and even rental units with solar panels and updated insulation. Ultimately, he says the goal is to save families money while reducing their reliance on fossil fuels. Seniors across Cayman will now have access to specialized geriatric medical service through the Health Services Authority Specialist Clinic. Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego reports.
The specialist clinic is located at the Smith Road Medical Center, and according to HSA officials, geriatric medical care involves the study, diagnosis, and treatment of diseases and conditions associated with older adults, including multiple chronic conditions, functional decline, dementia, and frailty. The introduction of this service will provide high-quality, patient-centered care for persons 60 years and older, helping them to live comfortably to improve their life expectancy. Nearly 12% of the Cayman Islands population is 60 years and older, according to the 2021 Population and Housing Census Report. Medical Director Dr. Delroy Jefferson noted that the expansion of the specialist clinic services to include geriatric is a result of the HSA actively addressing the medical and welfare needs of members of the community. HSA says the service will be delivered by the authority's first geriatrician, Dr. Glaister Bell, who has indicated that he takes a holistic approach to the care of older adults, addressing more than the physical aspects of health. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
And a turtle release was one of the highlights of this year's Seafire Wellness Festival at the Kimpton. In a post on social media, the team said they had the honor of naming the turtle Indigo, a name associated with a deep blue-violet color that signifies intuition, spiritual balance, and healing energies. The post expressed thanks to the Cayman Turtle Center for being a part of the festival this year and helping the Seafire Guardians with their invaluable help. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News, I'm John Shea. The Russian President Vladimir Putin says Ukraine's counteroffensive has so far yielded no results, despite the huge Western resources thrown at it. The counteroffensive has made relatively small territorial gains, but Ukraine says it's inflicted heavy losses. The prominent war blogger and former Russia-backed militant leader Igor Girkin has been detained in Moscow. He's recently been critical of President Putin and of the way Russia has conducted its war in Ukraine. Indian police say a crowd has attacked the home of the main suspect in an assault on 2 women who were paraded naked in Manipur during recent unrest. Police have arrested 4 men in connection with the assault. Scholars at a prestigious Islamic college in Iran have criticised the return of the morality police to enforce the mandatory hijab for women. They described it as an illegal and failed policy. Sweden has moved all of its staff out of its embassy in Baghdad after an attack on Thursday. It follows a protest in Stockholm where an Iraqi asylum seeker stamped on a Quran. The Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen has said his eldest son, Hun Manet, could take over from him within weeks of Sunday's general election. The opposition has largely been barred from contesting the poll. Large wildfires are still burning in parts of Greece, and forecasters are warning of another heatwave. Temperatures could again rise above 40 degrees in some areas. French prosecutors are investigating a robbery at the home of the Italy and Paris Saint-Germain goalkeeper Gianluigi Donnarumma. Armed men stole luxury goods worth more than $500,000. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com. Are you tired of waiting in long lines at the pharmacy just to fill a prescription?
If what, child, let me tell you.
Well, now you can save time and money with ValueMed's online prescription service. Visit ValueMed's new website, valrx.com, and click the Refill Subscriptions button. Fill in your information and choose your preferred pickup location. Or email your prescription refills for ValueMed Walkers Road at rx-wr@valrx.com, and for ValueMed in Boddentown, email rx-bt at valrx.com. Say goodbye to the hassle of waiting in lines and hello to the convenience of online prescriptions with ValueMed Pharmacy. Visit valrx.com to place your orders today.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store, or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I go flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline. Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe Cafe con Leche and Hollywood Squares for this old girl this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
CUC Advisory. Customers are advised of a scheduled outage on Wednesday, July 26th between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. for Eastland Drive, Will Jackson Drive, and sections of John McClain Drive in East End. For more information, please contact CUC's customer service team at 949-5200 or email service@cuc.ky.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you want to go scuba diving on your vacation, don't bedazzle your wetsuit. And you think you look great, but what you don't realize is that you look like a shiny, scaly fish. And it won't take long for a shark to notice you. Next thing you know, you're busting out every karate move you got. But if you're smart, you'll have CG medical insurance and get airlifted out to the closest hospital.
Get coverage for emergency evacuations. CG Britk. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
The 8:12 a.m. Weather Report, brought to you by CG Britk, where people come first.
Pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 86 degrees. Relative humidity is 78%. The barometric pressure is 29.92 inches and falling. The wind is out of the southeast at 8 knots. Overnight low temperature was 82 degrees. Synopsis indicate moderate winds and seas expected over the Cayman area for the next 24 hours, associated with a ridge over the Caribbean. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving west. Now, the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of afternoon showers, and temperatures today will be in the low 90s with a heat index of 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be east to southeast 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Tonight, pretty much the same, partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures falling to the mid-80s tonight. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Today's high tide will occur this morning at 11:41, low tide this evening at 5:29, and a high tide again tonight at 11:58. The sun will set this evening at 4 minutes after 7 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:59. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Sunday morning.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you're going to invest in an exotic pet, choose anything but a Norwegian forest cat. Apparently, they will eat all your jewelry. Before you know it, you're racing to the vet when your cat escapes from his carrier and lunges for your earrings. You crash and your cat swallows your pearls. But if you're smart, you'll have CG Motor Insurance and get the best comprehensive coverage for the price.
Get the best comprehensive coverage for the price. CG Britk. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
The 8:12 a.m. Weather Report, brought to you by CG Britk, where people come first.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by Encourse Cayman. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving our goals is rewarding, but at times can feel frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success. When setting your goals, break it down. Once the long-term goals are set, work backwards to set smaller and more manageable goals. These should be specific, measurable, and achievable. For example, study in the library for 1 hour, 3 times per week, instead of study more. Consider daily, weekly, yearly goals as success to help you focus on the essential steps today to ensure you are prepared when tomorrow's opportunities become available. Change your thinking and change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at traffic coming from the east on Shamrock Road and Rex Creighton Boulevard, flowing steady but flowing traffic on the Linford Pearson Highway. And traffic coming off of Bobby Thomason Way is a little steady, and traffic on Cool Road heading to Georgetown looking steady as well, so slight delays expected. And coming off of the Linford Pearson Highway on Agnes Way, traffic is also steady. And traffic is steady on Huldah Avenue, but tapers off onto Elgin Avenue. As we look to the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moving on moderately in both directions, as well as coming from the West Bay four-way stop. And turning our attention towards downtown Georgetown on Edward Street, moving on pretty good. And out of Georgetown on Shedden Road, looking good as well. Godfrey Nixon Way and Easton Avenue, traffic is steady but flowing. And that's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report. Of course, just in, as our cameras came up. Esteli Tibbetts Highway, steady but flowing traffic, and traffic steady on North Sound Road, and continuing on to Industrial Park area. Join us again next time for more on your traffic. Have a good morning and click it or ticket.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Whether it's routine care or highly complex surgery, when it comes to your health, you want the best. Health City has Cayman's most comprehensive range of in-house medical services. Recognized for quality and excellence, Health City brings together expert doctors, the best technology, and the latest techniques to understand your health and ensure you get the care you need. From Camana Bay to East End, you can trust the team at Health City. Health City, world-class healthcare within your reach.
Are you ready for a midsummer miracle? Get ready for the Christmas in July sale at Tortuga and discount retail stores. All July, Tortuga is bringing exclusive Red Dot deals in store. Discover incredible savings on selected items that will make your summer merrier. But hurry, the Red Dot deal is available while stock lasts during regular store trading hours. Don't miss the once in a summertime offer to save on your favorite beverages and more with Christmas in July. Visit a Tortuga and discount retail stores near you.
The Commission for Standards in Public Life reminds all persons subject to the Standards in Public Life Act that they are required to submit their annual declarations by no later than Sunday, the 30th of July.
To determine if you are required under the Act to submit a declaration, visit www.standardsinpubliclifecommission.ky/register of interest.
Again, the deadline for submissions of declarations to the Register of Interest via the online portal in accordance with the Standards in Public Life Act is Sunday, the 30th of July.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the Record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning the Honorable Kenneth Bryan, Minister with responsibility for tourism and ports. You heard him earlier. I'll tell you what he's going to be talking about. And he will signal to you, or I will signal to you when the phone lines are open as well, once he has covered all of the areas that he wants to cover. Minister Bryan, back over to you.
And thank you again, OC, for Mr. Connor.
That's okay, OC, it's fine.
Yeah, my mother would beat me if she hear me talking like that. Put some respect to the name. So before when we started before the 8 o'clock news hour, we talked about the 4 areas of discussion today, which is the minimum wage, a press release that I'm going to be discussing today from our half-year report for tourism. Also, there's a press conference of a new route for Cayman Airways that will be announced on Monday, and the Housing Task Force meeting talking about housing in the Cayman Islands. And after that, any other business, which is anything of concern for the listening public. Mm-hmm. So let's deal first with the minimum wage. As the public may be aware, the country and the government is currently working with the Minimum Wage Advisory Committee as they're doing the public consultation to advise the government as to what the next minimum wage will be. And as a result, they will be doing some public district meetings starting on August the 7th to the 13th. And meetings in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman will be scheduled for the 12th to the 13th of August. Now, it is important, very, very important, that the Cayman community come out to these meetings. The minimum wage in any country is a very, very important threshold for your economy to survive. It's the minimum upon which people can live and survive in any one society. And I think we can all agree that the cost of living in the Cayman Islands is pretty high at this moment due to exterior forces, global market forces, and the effects post-COVID. But if you're one of those persons who can't get out to the meetings, or you can get to the meetings and you want to participate even further, the Minimum Wage Advisory Committee, in collaboration with the Ministry of Border Control and Labor, is currently evaluating options for our next minimum wage, and they're doing a survey on SurveyMonkey. Mm-hmm. And for those who are social media or internet savvy, can go and do this survey on the minimum wage survey online portal, which is on, and I'm going to do this for YouTube for those who are watching. I brought this printed out because I didn't think you guys had a lower third, but if the camera can see that, if you're watching via YouTube, this is the link, and the link says www.surveymonkey.com/RMWAC23. Again, www.surveymonkey.com/R/MWAC23. And for those via YouTube, if you look at the screen, I have it a picture format so you can see it and go to it after the show and do the survey. The survey is also on Facebook at Minimum Wage Cayman, and it's also on Instagram at Minimum Wage KY. It is very important for us to give the feedback to this committee, particularly the working class. And I say that because being a minister, I can confidently say that the business community is going to make their voice be heard.
Oh, yes.
And there's two sides to this. It's those who work, there's an employee and the business owner. And I must admit that in the Cayman Islands, we have not been, as the working class, been very involved in this very important discussion and balance as to the profit share and the expenses of labor. So particularly those who are working in the tourism industry, I encourage you, please, 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 please be involved in this. As your constitutional representative for the industry of tourism, I want to know all those workers who work for the hotel industry, because I've gotten representation from the Cayman Islands Tourism Association on their input and how they feel about how the minimum wage should be, how it should be calculated, particularly when it comes to gratuities. As we know right now, 25% of the minimum wage of $6 can come from gratuities. And regardless of your viewpoint on that, that's the current structure. Now, if that structure was to change, this is the time for it to change, while at the same time getting a new minimum wage. There's some challenging views in respect to whether gratuities that is taken from the customer should be a part of the minimum wage or not. And I know that the Association of Owners would like to see gratuities continue to be a part of the minimum wage. And if we need the feedback, and I say we, on behalf of the government through the Ministry of Border Control and the Advisory Committee, which is headed up by the chairman, Mr. Lamuel Holston, who is a well-respected Caymanian and leader who has done the process before and is now doing it again. So I encourage everybody to take part in that survey before they start to do the district-to-district meetings where they meet in person and give your viewpoints. Now, the deadline for that survey is Monday, the 31st of this month. Today is the 21st, so it's 10 days. So again, I ask you to please go online and take part in the survey. Your feedback is essential for the determination of what the outcome number that they will be recommending for us to implement on behalf of you, the people of this country. Now, the people who can be involved in this survey, it doesn't matter if you are a Caymanian or not, whether you're a voter or not, a student or a retiree, business owner or employee, nor if you make the minimum wage or not. It doesn't matter as long as you are from the Cayman Islands as by way of some residential process. So we don't want visitors taking part in the survey. Mm-hmm. I think it's also important that the Commission hears everybody's input because everybody's voice matters. The Minimum Wage Advisory Committee is gearing up to host all the district meetings again, as I said, starting in August on the 7th to the 13th and in Cayman Brac from the 12th to the 13th of August. However, more information will be released on these meetings in the next couple of weeks on behalf of the Minimum Wage Committee, and the locations and exact dates and time for each district meeting will be announced. So please click on the Commission's media pages for all of those updates. And if you have any more questions and you want to be involved and you're more old school and you just want to call and hear more information from a person, you can call 326-3468. Again, 326-3468. Or you can send your email questions to minimumwage@gov.ky. minimumwage@gov.ky if you have any other questions. Please, Cayman, I beg you, take part in this one. This one is important. It's going to affect you in many more ways than one, regardless if you are a direct recipient of the minimum wage, whether you're a business owner who have to pay salaries, whether or not you think it may have a positive or a negative effect on the cost of living due to the increase. All of those factors have to be considered in giving the best recommended amount for us to consider.
Before you go on, Minister, question for you. And you have traveled extensively in your capacity of Minister responsible for tourism. And have you looked into other jurisdictions, especially in those that are involved in the tourism product? How many of them actually use gratuities as a part of the whole salary equation? For instance, we see Bermuda has now raised the minimum wage to, I think, something like about $16 an hour. But you never see anything. I haven't seen any mention of gratuities at all, which I believe that the gratuities are not factored into that. I have shared an article with you. I've sent it to you. Happened to be looking on a New York website yesterday. It's called BK Reader, and it there's an article in there about delivery workers who are the mayor of New York, Mayor
Very nice
Adam,
person, by the way.
Yes.
I met with him recently.
Great. He has increased the minimum wage to $17.96 an hour. Now it's stalled because this is for delivery workers.
Yeah.
And it has stalled because some companies have challenged it in court. Now, in the factoring in this, what they have determined was that after you have factored in what the delivery workers themselves have to pay in terms of their expenses, when you look at the figures, it is quite obvious that the majority of their salary, what they're making, is coming from the consumer, from tips. And it would be interesting to see in the Cayman Islands whether or not that is the case as well, whether or not, or the hotel owners, the condo owners themselves are getting out of jail free card because the gratuities are really what is bumping up the wages of their workers, which means that it is the consumer who's paying that rather than the employer.
Yeah, it's interesting that you highlight that point, or you use the phrase "get out of jail free card," because that is the main contentious point in respect to minimum wage when it comes to hospitality, because hospitality industry is the one industry that adds on a gratuity amount. So gratuities and tips are two different things. And gratuities come directly from the customer. So it's not necessarily an expense from the business owner and their profits. So there's differing degrees and viewpoints on whether or not that should happen. And that's why I'm saying, particularly the hotel employees, I want you to take part in this because the minimum wage committee has to hear from you. To answer your first initial question, Mr. Connor, in respect to whether other Caribbean islands do that, there is a mixed model across the Caribbean. But even if you use the example you used just now about Bermuda, if you look at the figure they're using, even if gratuities were involved, I don't know the exact percentage right now off the top of my head, and I've asked the committee to use like-for-like regional Caribbean islands in the industry for examples based on what they recommend to us later on from a tourism perspective, right? You'd see that even with gratuities, the minimum that the industry has to pay is still well over like almost $10. So regardless if you have gratuities on there, if you use the example of the $16, $17, gratuities of it is probably about 20%, while the mean base of what the employee pays is well over $10, what the employer spends. So this does have an economic impact from the ability of owners to deliver the service. Of course, if you increase their cost to deliver any service, they're most likely to pass on that expense onto the consumer. So we have to make sure where that balance is. I think one of the main areas of that will come up as contentious is the hotel industry and tourism industry. Hence the reason I think I want to make sure I do my part as minister, even though this falls under Ministry of Labor and Border Control. As Minister for Tourism, I want everybody involved in this. So I want to make sure that I'm standing on behalf of not only the owners, but the working class within the tourism industry.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break, folks. When we return, the conversation with Minister Bryan will continue, so don't change that dial. Please stay tuned.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care, close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I go and flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline. Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
It's a 24-karat summer with Digicel. In honor of our first truly COVID-free summer, Digicel is giving away $24,000. Be one of 10 to win $2,400 this July. For a chance to win, all you have to do is switch to Digicel, activate a Prime bundle, or simply pay your bill on time. It's that easy. It takes 2 minutes to get $2,400 richer. Make the choice to win today and visit a Digicel store near you.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Honorable Kenneth Bryan. Minister, back over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Connor. We just wrapped up on the minimum wage discussion. And again, I encourage persons to take part in this survey they're trying to do before the end of this month, July the 31st, which is Monday. You can go to their social media pages at Minimum Wage Cayman on Facebook, at minimumwage.ky on Instagram, or you can take their survey on www.surveymonkey.com/r/MWAC23. Or to make it a little bit easier, you can call them at 326-3468. 326-3468. Or if you want to email them questions at minimumwage@gov.ky. All right, moving on from the minimum wage discussion now to a press release that just came out late last night. And this will be probably the first place that the release will be announced. And I'm happy to say it's from my ministry in respect to the Cayman Islands exceeds annual revenue target in the first 6 months. I'm so proud of my team within the ministry and the Department of Tourism and the industry. So let me read the press release for the listening audience. The Cayman Islands Ministry of Tourism has today announced that revenues collected from tourism taxes and fees in the first 6 months of the year have already exceeded the revenue forecasted for the full 12 months of this year. Based on the current trend, the ministry expects to surpass the revenues collected in 2019, which was the highest year on record. Tourism revenue from accommodations, taxes, and fees between January and June, half of the year, amounted to a whopping $28.8 million, which is already $12.4 million ahead of the mid-year projections and $3 million over the anticipated full-year target. This means that the level of revenue anticipated for the full year has already been collected within the first 6 months.
Excellent.
Pretty awesome
Excellent.
fleet.
Yep.
I must say I'm proud of my team. We've been working really hard over the last year and a couple of months, so congratulations to them. This impressive growth can be attributed to the successful marketing strategies implemented by the Ministry and the Department of Tourism, as well as the unwavering support and commitment from the tourism partners and stakeholders. Revenue from cruise passengers departure tax amounted to $4.4 million, which is already approximately 6% ahead of the mid-year forecast. The stayover arrivals between January and June of 2023 stood at 235,370 visitors, equating to 84% of visitor arrivals during the corresponding year of 2019. Bearing in mind, we only projected for 70%, and we're currently at 84%. So we're doing well. The numbers of tourism arrivals during the first half of the year has surpassed all estimates so far and is due to the increase in the average daily rate of accommodations over the past year, indicating a strong and sustained interest in the Cayman Islands as a premier travel destination. As customary, the United States made up 83.6% of the total visitation, followed by Canada, registering at 7.5% of the visitors' arrivals, and Europe with 4.4%, which is similar to figures recorded in 2019. Cruise passenger arrivals for the first half of the year are similarly strong, amounting to 738,462 passengers, or 73% of the 2019 pre-pandemic visitation numbers, and we projected it to be at 70%. All factors considered, where we don't have a peer like the leader of opposition or deputy leader of opposition was saying on Wednesday. We knew these numbers would have been lower than 2019 numbers due to the people's choice of not having a peer, which we respect and we will continue to maintain. But our projections were 70% due to those factors, and good to know that we are above it already at the halfway mark. So a lot of great things from the Ministry of Tourism. Are very, very proud to say that we've done our part within the ministry. We projected that we would make X amount of money. We're already $12 million more than what we projected to make within the first year and within the first 6 months, and $3 million more than what we were supposed to make for the whole year. So we're doing quite well. I'm proud of my team. I want to take this opportunity to say congratulations to Chief Officer, Mr. Strandborden, and the Director of Tourism, Ms. Rosa Harris. They work very hard, and they both have strong, amazing staff members who are civil servants and who don't get the credit they deserve on the hard work. Up to last night, myself and two other members in staff, Ms. Mona Lisa Tatum, Mona Lisa Mead now, my apologies, yes, and Miss Gina Matthews were up till after 9 last night. At least that's when I left them. I don't know what time they went home, working on important matters for the country. So I know those two work really, really hard. And the industry has been working in collaboration with us, particularly that of the Cayman Islands Tourism Association, to promote the Cayman Islands. So things are positive. You can still see that Cayman is a premier destination. I mean, the fact that the ADR has gone up by a large percentage and people still want to come. Actually, I got a recent report for July, which is a slow season, and we're well above average for slow season. So I'm excited to see what July will say, and knock on wood that things don't go bad in respect for any natural disasters, and which I should take the opportunity to say, please, people, protect yourself, prepare yourself for the hurricane season. Go and buy anything you need and check your insurance, check your medical documents, your passport, your travel documents, anything that you need, your home insurance, all of these factors. Check out where your closest shelter is if your home is not one that is strong enough for a hurricane, or if you're in a flood zone area. This information is vital. Funny enough, I just got a message from one of my community members within the Tropicana Crescent area who just said that there is a formation. I said, good morning, neighbors. Just a heads up before the weekend. We have a potential for a tropical storm to form in the Central Caribbean Sea. next week, you may want to take this weekend to finalize your 2023 hurricane season plans. Right? So I'm really proud for the community doing their own part to protect each other as neighbors, and that's 95L. I'm not sure what that is, and I think that's a low pressure system. So I want us to please pay attention to your weather patterns. It has been extremely hot lately, so you know that with heat comes tropical patterns and weather. So I want to move on now. So we did the press release of the good news that we're doing in respect to revenues. We did the press conference that will be on Monday at 11 a.m. With the new route that Cayman Airways will be announcing. And I'm really excited about that one. I think a lot of people within in the Cayman Islands community will be happy about that as well. We spoke about the minimum wage, so I want to now move on, if not before the break, just after the break, the discussions that we had just yesterday about the housing issues that we are facing in the Cayman Islands. Myself, the Honourable Premier, the Honourable Minister for Housing, the Honourable Andre E. Banks, and who are part of this working group for Interministerial Housing Task Force, met yesterday along with other colleagues who are not a part of the committee, but as a caucus we met to discuss the issues surrounding housing. This task force had a lot of other specialists to help us with discussing what the key concerns are for housing in the country, which made up of PAHI, made up of Department of Tourism, Needs Assessment Unit, which will eventually be changed to the Department of Financial Assistance, the Ministry of Sustainability, all of these different ministries, and Ministry of Transportation with the Honourable J.E. Banks, Ministry of Planning, all the different agencies that would have an effect on the housing situation. Ministry of Lands, from the potential for new regulations to monitor housing standards and so forth. So we had much discussions yesterday, many things that we talked about to try to find solutions in respect to cost of housing, availability of housing, the rental market, regulations of that market, how it would be done, what is the current legislation, what changes would need to be made, what would be the basic standard expected, a licensing of the market, because currently many people have apartments, but they're running a business, but they're technically not licensed to do business, particularly those who are non-Caymanian who just own properties.
And they're not regulated.
And they're not regulated in any way. Sorry, go ahead.
We're going to take the commercial break, Minister. Sorry to interrupt there. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Are you ready for a midsummer miracle? Get ready for the Christmas in July sale at Tortuga and discount retail stores. All July, Tortuga is bringing exclusive Red Dot deals in store. Discover incredible savings on selected items that will make your summer merrier. But hurry, the Red Dot deal is available while stock lasts during regular store trading hours. Don't miss the once in a summertime offer to save on your favorite beverages and more with Christmas in July. Visit a Tortuga and discount retail stores near you. Hey, is your phone slow, overheating, and dropping important calls? Don't fret. This summer, it's time to flip out with Digicel. Introducing the all-new Samsung Flip 4 with its sleek design and cutting-edge features. You'll flip into the summer in style and confidence. This summer, you can grab the all-new Samsung Flip 4, all just for $145. Flip into the summer with Digicel. Visit a Digicel store near you and grab the all-new Samsung Flip 4 and the amazing 7-day Prime Ultra plan today.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Homeowners, protecting your family and property is crucial during the season, and you should always assess insurance needs long before a storm makes landfall. Most insurers won't issue new policies or increases when a storm is imminent. Cayman Insurance Center's team of professionals can help owners like you find the most comprehensive coverage and competitive rates. Call the insurance professionals at Cayman Insurance Center 949-4657 or email info@cic.com.ky. Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets. Call Cayman Insurance Center's insurance professionals today at 949-4657.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Before I pass the mic back over to Minister Bryan, I have been asked to give advance birthday shout-outs to Miss Anissa Woods, who's celebrating her birthday tomorrow, the 22nd of July. And the birthday greetings are coming from her sister, Miss Laname, other sisters and brothers, as well as Miss Anissa's two sons and the rest of her family and friends. So, Miss Anissa Woods, former colleague of mine at the Immigration Department, she is celebrating her birthday tomorrow, so we want to wish her a happy birthday as well. Minister, over to you.
Thank you again, Mr. Connor. Before we went to the break, we were just going into the discussion about housing and the current environment around it. We have a housing task force which is made up of the Honorable Premier, the Honorable Minister for Housing, myself as Minister for Tourism, the Honorable Minister Andre E. Banks for Social Services or Social Welfare, NAU, which way you would like to look at that, the Honorable Deputy Premier, Minister for Lands, and within that task force, all the various different agencies and departments that fall under those responsibilities were involved in the technocrats to give advice to the government as to what areas do we want to start talking about in respect to solutions to the growing problem that we have within housing. So a presentation was given to the committee as well as our other colleagues in caucus. And some of the things that we spoke about yesterday is obviously the most important things that we all think about: the cost of housing, the availability of housing, the growth rate of our society, which will have a severe effect on the demand of housing, the rental market and costs associated with it due to the demand and supply, the regulations of the standards of the rental market and the housing market. Well, I think the housing market has a good regulatory process already in respect to planning approvals and so forth when you're building those homes. But the regulations of the rental pricing market are the standard for you to be able to rent. And now that standard has obviously diminished over time. Due to the fact that it's not regulated in any capacity. It's been a source of income for many of our retirees and Caymanians who would have a home, a nice piece of lot, and they'll build a separate little house on the side or an attachment to their home, and that's almost like retirement money because the pensions have not been sufficient. So we over the last 50 years, we haven't really gone into regulating the rental market because we didn't think there was a need for it. But as the degradation of the standards within the market, now it's becoming quite sad that some people are taking advantage of renters, giving them below standard or expected standard just for a human being to sleep in, and charging them money or charging them very, very high prices for something that you know that you can just see doesn't value the amount of spend. But people have to accept what they can get because the demand is so high and limited availability. We also talked about how do we help with the spacing and availability of land. Obviously, Cayman is a very small place, and we may now have to start considering changes zoning and planning legislation to allow smaller properties or allow developments to go more than 2 stories for apartments. Change zoning that maybe something can be built that is not normally built in a particular residential area. I mean, we have been accustomed to this culture, which is a good thing, not a bad thing, but we have to recognize we're changing, which is our old school ways. You're always told, make sure you buy yourself a little plot of land and you put your house on it, and then you can have a little land around, you can plant your fruit trees and so forth.
Yeah.
That came from a time of our growth and development and protection of what we were before. Today's day, most people don't need to have a house lot in order to have a roof over their head, because obviously the larger the land, the larger the house, the more expensive it is, and what we're trying to get away from now is the expense. You can see more developing markets where people are living in smaller spaces because the production of goods and foods are done elsewhere, as opposed to before the Industrial Revolution. And machinery, people used to have to farm for their own stuff. So the next generation is fine with, I can live in an apartment that is smaller in size. I don't have to have a granular open space in the hallway or in my living room. And now if you can afford that and you want that, then so be it. But we have to make sure that available housing that meets at least the bare minimum ability to have a roof over your head to survive at a reasonable price. And that means not only changing market forces, but changing regulations and legislation and codes and how we see that, which means that this housing task force, after assessing all the different factors, are going to have to do some public consultation with the community to say we have to change our approach to how the current market is set for housing in order to deliver a large enough demand for the growth that we have seen. And unfortunately, right now, the growth seems to continue to increase. I mean, whether we agree with the growth or not, or the work permit numbers or not, is not the part I want to dispute at this point. But the fact is, the reality is, the economy is asking for a larger number of people due to the successes post-COVID of where we're at. Our current numbers for work permit holders are 36,000 persons. While at the same time, we are having more and more persons becoming Caymanian. So the growth rate is well over 80-something thousand, and we're expected to easily be at 100,000 people within the next 10 years. So the demand for housing is only going to continue. And if we don't do something about the availability within the industry and the supply chain from an affordable perspective within regulation and legislation, the housing pricing market is going to be to a point where our people can't pay for a roof over their head. And even if they have a square box, the square box may be below standard, and you're paying a lot of price for it. So we went through discussions about, the different types of housing that we need to talk about, whether it be social housing, affordable housing, the different types of zones and planning changes we would need for, the fact is that right now you can't do apartment buildings that are higher than 2 stories. Can we increase that to higher stories to get more density in the area? I think that can be a major solution to the traffic problem, because most of the work is in the Central Capital District. And it's just because of the zoning, we don't allow it to be dense enough. So people are forced to go outside of the capital to travel back in. And I think if we allowed more density within the central part, not central constituency, but within our capital, which is Georgetown, regardless of whether it's east, west, north, or south, or central, that if we allow more density in that respect, we'd have a lot less people having to travel in the morning. So it could help us with the traffic component. We also talked about transportation as we start to amend and think about developments and allowing different zones or schemes to be developed, we have to consider the transportation component, because if you say, for instance, you develop a low-income housing scheme or affordable housing scheme, whatever kind of scheme it may be, whether it's associated with the government or not, to try to give more density in a particular area, you're going to have transportation concerns, whether it's persons driving in from that area or whether you need bus connectivity for kids or people who don't have a car connecting to those areas. So we talked about transportation as well. We also talked about the one thing that we've been speaking about for now 10 years, I believe, is the mixed use that was expected to be a key component to the revitalization of Georgetown. I'm happy to say that that you start to see things like 1GT, which is going to be infusing that. There's going to be commercial, there's going to be residential, and there's going to be hotel space. But there have not, in my humble opinion, been enough that we or the past government have done to incentivize the transition of older buildings into that mixed use, because it's a very costly exercise. Yes. So some of these rezoning and planning changes that we can do can help make it cheaper for them to develop these things. At the current model, you ask yourself the question, why is it some of these old buildings in town haven't taken advantage to say you can go up higher stories, the zoning for the heights have changed, you can do residential, but what is it that's putting the hurdle in the way for them not to take advantage of it? So there's obviously things that make it too expensive for them to go down that route. We're also talking about the expectation on, that 10% persons can add on to their homes. We want to revert back to that. I know the minister, I spoke to him just yesterday about this, and he has already sent the drafting instructions to legal to come back with the paper to change the law to allow us to go back to what we used to have before, which is you can expand on your current home for 10% without having to go to planning. Because that used to be a key component for Caymanians, and they would use that as a part of the rental market, which increases the demand.
Yep. Folks, top of the hour headline news. When we return, the conversation with Minister Bryan will continue, so please stay tuned.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Seniors across Cayman now have access to specialized geriatric medical service. The Health Services Authority says the introduction of this service will provide, quote, high-quality, patient-centered care for those over 60, helping them live comfortably and improving their life expectancy. Tony Bennett, the legendary New York pop and jazz singer, has died at the age of 96. Bennett was known for songs such as The Way You Look Tonight, Body and Soul, and I Left My Heart in San Francisco. He also collaborated with star performers from Lady Gaga to Aretha Franklin and Frank Sinatra, who called him, quote, the best singer in the business. And the U.S. Department of Transportation is investigating Delta Airlines over reports that passengers were forced to wait on an idle plane in extreme heat. The plane in question sat on the tarmac at the Las Vegas airport for at least 3 hours Monday as temperatures rose as high as 111 degrees Fahrenheit. Multiple passengers were seen by medical first responders and 2 people went to a local hospital. Delta says it has offered compensation and apologized to affected passengers. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
The Health Services Authority has over 120 world-class physicians offering the most comprehensive range of specialist services on island. Our dedicated team of professionals provide the highest quality care in orthopedics, interventional radiology, women's health, geriatrics, and a host of other specialist areas. We are a JCI accredited organization with a proven record of excellence. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you. For more information, visit hsa.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. It's my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Honorable Kenneth Bryan, Minister with responsibility for tourism and transport. One of our listeners on Facebook says, good morning. It's great to know that our tourism industry is booming. My question is for whom? They go on to say that we taxi drivers are hurting due to the ships being allowed to sell out our local tours, and they give an example, say that they learned that a 32-seater bus went on tour with one passenger just to buy gas with the $30 that they made from it.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure which specific circumstances that is, and I'm not sure how that relates to the cruise ship industry. I must admit that one of the key problems that we're having within cruise is our local stakeholders working together to make sure that they're not outbidding each other. It is a very complex problem because you don't want to dictate pricing. And ideally what the providers should be doing is working together to, in a mature way, respectfully look at the pricing scales, that they don't undermine each other to a point where you're making so little profits it doesn't even make sense to do that.
But I think this person was referring to the fact that because the tours can be sold on the vessels as well, that there's very little left, for them, because the cruise lines, they basically have, a captive audience on board their cruise ships.
Yeah, but that is not the cruise lines tour. It is a local operator who has had an agreement with the cruise lines. So it's not like the cruise lines is taking that money. So another Caymanian who owns that company has maneuvered their way in a way where they've gotten a good relationship with the cruise line and have come to an agreement, some sort of contract. So there's different types of offerings. Some that are freelancers at the location begging for, or not, I wouldn't say begging, soliciting for a tour where cruise lines, cruise passengers come off and they don't have pre-arranged tours. They go, okay, let me see at this hot what available tours they are. What we are seeing is that there's a lot more push from the cruise lines to do pre-approved tours with local operators, because they're more certain about where their customers are and that they're safe. They're along with reputable companies. So we've always encouraged local providers to work with the cruise line. Now, there is I wouldn't say a danger with that, but there is the risk of when you realize you want to work with the cruise lines is going to do what they always do. And I said that in front of them when they were here recently, which is they're going to try to do the best negotiations to make the most profits for them.
Exactly, yes.
But I think we have to do just as good. And this is where the maturity of working together, I wanted them to create an association where that to be a part of this association, you have a committee that agrees to different types of pricings, whether it's a half an hour tour, a tour to Stingray City, a tour to East End. The common tours that you would normally get, or common attractions you would normally get, that you guys say this is the baseline price that you will accept, and stick to it. But what I knew that this is tried before, and then some people went off to the side and then renegotiated with the cruise lines on the side and brought the price down. And then once one domino falls, then all the rest of them fall. And my challenge as minister to advise my government on what needs to be done, outside of dictating to them to say you can't have this price, which is price control, which is a very dark road to go down, and I'd probably get more pushback on that, but that's the only way to solve it. That's why within mature industries, they do it on their own. For example, don't think for 1 second that there is a reason why certain gas stations don't go down below a certain price. They're not all together, but people have associated the fact that they've all decided together, do not go below this price. Yeah. Or any other industry, whether that's a supermarket or whether it's any other kind of market that is being offered, they all agree in the best interest of each other, don't go below this price, because then we're just cannibalizing each other. And then the customer wins. And in this case, the customer would be the cruise lines, because they're making a profit off of your service. And the advantage they have is they're people who are on their ships, so they can send them to which tour that they want them to. So rather than taking tour A, B, or C, if they're making more profits off of tour B, they're going to say, take tour B because tour B is the best one, when in fact they're making $7 on top of profits off of that tour, while you're only charged the tour, hypothetically speaking, the tour is $20 per person. You are only getting 13 out of it because they took $7 on profit. But tour C, you're selling it for $20 exactly the same, but they're only getting $3 out of it. So they're going to push for the ones they make most profit from. So I get that concern, and I think that concern, the person, the narrator of that comment is suggesting is that the tours that are not pre-booked are not getting as much. And naturally, I think that's a part of the business strategy where the stakeholders within it need to work together with themselves. I'll throw something out there which is quite controversial, OC.
Okay.
At one point, I considered trying to bring to my government, obviously I'd have to get the support of my team, to consider having something like, in order for you to operate from the port for tours, you had to be a part of an association. And if you're not a part of this association that's accredited by the government, you can't operate at the port. And within that association, you have to follow the covenants of the association, which would be agreements on price and scales. Because the only thing I can say I have control of the Port Authority. In order for you to operate there, you have to go through this association. But it's the same thing. I'm trying to control the circumstances to force them to get down and sit down together and agree to this pricing. So no member can go outside of it. But then if they come outside of the property, a person can be sitting across the street and sell the tour differently. So as much as I want to try to see if I can force the hand to make them do the right thing together, there's always a loophole around it. And the truth of the matter is simply this. We as operators within the tourism product, particularly those who are what you call smaller operators, have to do it like how the big money man does it. Be disciplined in your own best interests, and we got to stop cutting each other's throat. And this is the difference between, sometimes you hear people say, oh, these foreigners, this group of foreigners is doing so well, while the Caymanians are not doing well. And sometimes you hear the stories of the scary stories in the background where probably cutting each other's throat. We got to work together on this. And I think that's the only solution here. And I hope I don't get too much criticism for that, but that's the simple truth.
Yeah.
In the interest of finishing the conversation about housing, because I do want to give the audience a time to call in after this break of anything that they want to talk about. But before I wrap up the housing situation, I want to say so much thanks to the amazing 24 of civil servants who worked together on proposing this this presentation to us yesterday, because we went into some serious depths and analysis on the high-level solutions that the government and us, the policymakers, can consider to choose to help with this problem. And you can see that they've, as well as their full-time job that they already have within the civil service, they've done a lot of analysis, and it's just a start. And I'm saying, I must say, yesterday when I was leaving the presentation, I said this is one of the top 3 best presentations by way of an effect on a solution to the country that I've heard. So I want to thank them so much for their hard work, and keep at it. This is going to affect the country in a positive way. So I'm proud of you. Thank you so much. But I want to leave the topic of housing from a perspective is what this task force is tasked to do is to offer up solutions in the very many different ways that we can consider as policymakers to present to the country as ways of solution. Talking about impact on supply, demand, pricing, access through financing through the bank, through capital, the rental market regulations, the planning codes, the zoning. All of these factors have an effect on the housing availability, demand, and pricing. And we're looking through those from a analytical, scientific way that once we come with a conclusion, we know what the outcome will be. I know we have to hurry up on this, but we want to make sure that we're doing it the proper way. And I'm certain that the Honorable Premier, once we have concluded and decided, the Honorable Premier will be the one to announce what conclusions. I just want the country to know that we are deep diving into this, and we're hoping that we can announce, particularly, the budget session is coming up soon. Yeah. And a lot of the questions from the opposition, which will do their job to ask us the relevant questions as to what you're doing with this particular problem. And one of the major problems right now is housing availability. So what is the government's plan to that? So that's what we're deep diving into, and hopefully we'll have more to tell the country by the time we get to budget session or even before. I know that some people are really interested in the GGHAM program, which was a government guaranteed assistance mortgage program, which was built back, I think, almost 4 terms ago now. I was one of the recipients. My first apartment as a young father, a new husband, I started on that, and it works. Mm-hmm. So we're not trying to reinvent the wheel in particular circumstances. So there is some adjustments to that we're considering to implement, but fundamentally it would be similar in its output. So just for those who are interested in that, hopefully the government can announce through our premier that something similar to that will be available within short order. There's funding concerns or funding factors that need to be considered, and that's why we're discussing our debate, our budget right now, so that the financing components to the solutions to the housing problem can be factored and put aside for the necessary monies that we would need to offer the solutions. All right, hopefully I wasn't too confusing on what I said there. That's basically the update on the housing situation that the government is doing. I want to take this opportunity now to open up the phone lines for anything. It doesn't matter if it's a topic that we spoke about today, whether it's the tourism revenues that we're doing so well at, that we announced today, whether it's the press conference on Monday, whether it's housing, or whether it's the minimum wage. I'm happy to hear from you. I want to hear from the public. So I'll leave it there and open up the phone lines.
Okay, we're going to, what I'll do is I'll read this one, and then we'll go to the commercial break after I read this, and the minister can think about it. This one says, "Good morning, Minister Bryan. Please consider landlords when regulations are put in place regarding tenants. Ever so often, whenever a tenant vacates the apartment across from my premises, the landlord has to do major repairs inside those apartments. I have to smile and say that renting to some tenants is similar to obtaining a loan, because the landlord has to pay back the funds in repairs. Also, if some tenants have something important to get done, they use the rent and boast to the friend who usually tells someone else that the landlord has to wait on them." So basically what they want to do, not only to regulate landlords, but to have some protection, not only to regulate the landlords, but to have some protections to them as well from some of the abuses that they receive from tenants.
Much of those things can be resolved through contracts.
Yes.
A lot of times there's a lot of renting happening in the market where it's just by word of mouth. Okay, you give me $600 for this room or $1,000 for this room, and there's no contractual agreements. Now, even if you have a contractual agreement, there's another side to that, which is the enforcement of that agreement. And what happens is you may say, well, boy, there's a discrepancy within this agreement that we both signed, and you had a lawyer and everything else did the contract. But if there's a discrepancy, you have to take it to court, which is not a criminal, a civil case. And then you call the police if it gets to that point, but the police will say, well, this is a civil matter. I don't think the police do well enough in the differentiation between civil matters and criminal matters, because sometimes there's easy circumstances where a civil matter can easily transition into a criminal matter, and if the police is not well educated or informed as to what the law says and doesn't say, they wouldn't be able to differentiate where they can step in. Or sometimes it just uses an excuse to say, I don't want to deal with this problem, it seems to be a civil matter. Mm-hmm. So even police enforcement, or any other enforcement for that factor, whether it's DCI, whether it's commercial regulations or tenants and landlords agreements, all of those things need to be factored into solutions moving forward.
Okay, thanks for that response. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation will continue. Phone lines are open. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens. and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Are you ready for a midsummer miracle? Get ready for the Christmas in July sale at Tortuga and discount retail stores. All July, Tortuga is bringing exclusive Red Dot deals in store. Discover incredible savings on selected items that will make your summer merrier. But hurry, the Red Dot deal is available while stock lasts during regular store trading hours. Don't miss the once in a summertime offer to save on your favorite beverages and more with Christmas in July. Visit a Tortuga and discount retail stores near you.
The STEPS 2023 National Health Survey is now in full swing, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness would like to thank the community for their ongoing support of this endeavor. Participants who have completed Steps 1 and 2 of the survey are reminded to complete Step 3 by July the 31st. Any survey participant needing additional support or information can contact mhwsteps@gov.ky or call 936-4969.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me, Minister Kenneth, the Honorable Kenneth Bryan. We have 3 callers. We have several WhatsApp messages as well, so we're going to alternate between the callers and the WhatsApp messages. So this person says, does the minister support the National Housing and Development Trust building affordable homes on the 24 acres close to Linford Pearson Highway bought for that purpose? If not, where will another 24 acres be found for affordable homes in Georgetown? And whether or not you support fast-tracking a new development plan using the Plan Cayman approach so that the right zoning for housing can be accomplished in a planned and strategic fashion.
Quickly, just to answer both questions, the answer is yes. The first one, the 24 acres, I think the main reason why that hasn't been initiated by the Minister for Housing is due to the fact that it is basically a wetland area which needs a lot of fill. So there's high cost to fill it. So a lot of people see it as purchased land, but the type of land also factors in the cost. The affordable housing the government subsidizes a lot of the cost for affordable housing, which basically you get the land free and you pay for the cost of the building. So the substantial amount of money that would be necessary to put it in place, but also you know that there's going to be a lot of pushback from any filling of the wetland area, which I think most people know where I stand with that. I think there's enough engineering to be able to put in place to mitigate any negative impacts. But there is a major pushback for anything from a wetland perspective right now in the community. And I think it's at a disadvantage to the people of this country for a lot of successes. But I'll take the criticisms from whoever gives it to me for that respect. But my answer is yes. I think we do need to fast track this. Housing is a severe problem, and the government is trying to tackle it. Before we take that call, though, let me just wish this lovely lady a happy birthday. Today she's 75 years old. Miss Selma Lulu Reyes. We want to wish you, on behalf of your family, a happy birthday. Rojas, sorry, my apologies. Miss Selma Rojas, better known as Miss Lulu. Happy 75th birthday to you.
Okay, we have 3 callers, so we're going to ask each caller to try to be as brief as possible so that we can cover as many bases and accommodate as many people. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record.
Morning, Doc. How are you?
I'm fine. Good morning for the Honorable Minister.
Good morning, Dr. McFeel.
Minister, I would like to agree with you about your comments and your opinion on the lack of organization between the working class in this country. It's not enough time to go through that with you, the historical reasons for all of that. But the working class here have never been organized. And there are a lot of reasons for that. There are a lot of psychological, historical reasons for their lack of organization. For instance, the lawyers are organized, the accountants are organized, all those people are organized, and they set their hourly rate, their salary. They set their hourly rate. When you go to them, you know how much they're going to charge you per hour. It could have reached anything from $1,200 an hour down to $150 an hour. I would like to do that, and unless they do that, they are not going to get anywhere in this country. They're not going to get anywhere by buying a bus and going out there and hold up a sign. They have to be organized, and I mean legally organized. And I guess you know what that's leading to.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Secondly, what is gratuity?
You asking me the question?
It's a gift.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a gift. Sorry.
It's a gift from the, and in our circumstances, it's a gift from the people who come to an establishment, and it's a gift to the people who serve them. The patrons to an organization, whether it's a restaurant or a fast food place or a hotel or whatever, it's something that the people, the servee, gets from the server. It is not a gift to the employee, to the employer.
Well,
and it's not a gift to the employee, but I notice now that when you go to some establishment here in Cayman, then they put it down as a service fee. They put it down as a service fee. If they put it on a service fee then, and you're paying $15 for the meal, what are you paying for? Because they already charge you $50 for the meal, that they are supposed to be paying people wages to serve it, but yet they're charging you for that too. And so, again, this is not going to be solved unless the people who work in those industries organize themselves like other places do. And that money should never be in the hands of the employer. It should be in the hands of a delegate who is there on behalf of the employees, that they have a legal right, or through some legislation or whatever, to distribute, or through some union organization to distribute it to their fellow workers. And that's the problem that we have. We leave everything to these people who employ who are the employers, and so unless we make gratuity legal. Gratuity is not legal in the Cayman Islands. That you don't have to pay that if you don't want to. That's the problem that we have. And so that also has to be regulated, but it's not going to be regulated until those workers. For instance, and I'll go after this. Every summer, when I was going to law school, I used to go to work in the woods, in the logging camps in British Columbia. Every summer, if I didn't keep up my union dues, I have to pay my IWWA dues before I could stop working. That had to come out of I had to agree to that come out of my wages. International Wood Workers of America, they are the ones who control all logging, all has to do with lumber making, all has to do, and you can't work there unless you are a union member. And so we are the only place in the Caribbean, I believe, that doesn't have any organized organization to protect the workers. And it comes out of a certain kind of history. But we have never had that kind of history, and so we leave everything to the other person to look out for us. And that is not going to happen because they are not going to look out for you. They never did. And I mean, that comes down from the most traumatic thing that ever happened here, and that was emancipation. Even when the British say that we were free, they said, but we have to give you, you have to work for them for so many years before you can actually get free. It was when Caymanians said, we're not doing that we got emancipation first. Free. We got emancipation in 1835, and the other people didn't get emancipation until 1838, 39. Because the Caymanian people refused to be apprentices and work for little or nothing. And the history is there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc.
Yeah, I do want to quickly say some comments in respect to Dr. Macfield. Thank you so much for calling in. You're a wealth of knowledge in respect to some of these historical matters and issues that we face. I just want to say two things. You asked the question, what is the definition of gratuities? Well, in this context of this discussion, gratuities is defined by what the law says it is, not what we think it is. And if we disagree with the definition within the labor law, then it's time for us to change it. And that's why it's important for the Minimum Wage Committee to hear from the public and what they think the gratuities should be defined as, so they can give us a recommendation as to whether it should be changed, if it should be changed, what should it be changed to, what is the perception of what gratuities should be, is it a fee, is it a gift, whatever we see as a society, because a society and its laws is defined on what the masses together believe something should be, as well as what is from a regional perspective. The last thing I want to say is that he did say that we're one of the only Caribbean islands that don't have organized labor. And there's some truth to that, but I would like to highlight that it's just that the common worker hasn't done it. There's other people who have. You have the Civil Service Union. Civil Service Association, I call it a union, just the same thing. Basically, is what it is a group of people who've come together to represent each other's views on matters of dispute. Now, those matters could be...
But that, if I could interrupt you there before you go too far with it, that was created by government of sorts to, for collective bargaining, within the civil service.
You said the key word there, collective bargaining.
Collective bargaining, yeah.
Well, that's the basis of any union, is to be able to come as a collective.
But the history of that was that government put that in place for them, as opposed to some grassroots organization movement.
Agreed.
Yes,
so why would the government only protect the civil servants? What about the common man? So I'm obviously already out on a limb here, and hopefully I don't fall off the tree. But the truth is, Dr. Macfield has highlighted the fact of there's some historical reasons. I remember Dr. Frank Macfield trying to start this, and the criticisms that he received as a representative, it could be one of the reasons why he's not elected today, because certain people don't like unions to come into play, and
many.
So
especially the businesses.
Exactly. So the truth is, collective bargaining is very important for your success, not only from a wage perspective, but it goes right back to the same thing we were just talking about with the tour operators at the cruise terminal. So there's a lot to discuss. That's why we have to be involved in the community consultation with the Minimum Wage Committee. So please, please, please go on your social media. If you Google Minimum Wage Committee Cayman Islands, I'm quite sure something will come up, whether it's to Facebook, Instagram, or to their Survey Monkey, and they will be making announcements for their public meetings. Please go to them.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. We still have 3 callers queued up. Hang in there. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget, our Custom Closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old girl this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
I think I'm gonna search the town and get lost with a girl who can fill me right up with her charm.
Friends of Jamich presents a fundraising beach barbecue on Wednesday, July 26th at Coral Beach. Live music by J.R. Douglas,
Tropical Days,
High Tide,
Musical Crew,
DJ Alec, Mixmaster,
DJ Martino.
Gates open at 4 p.m. till 11 p.m. 2 for 1 happy hour, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Proudly sponsored by
The Caymanian Times, Monster Media, Radio Cayman, Young Blood Production, Coral Beach.
Part proceeds in aid of Jamich Cancer Recovery.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're going straight to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
I'm getting an echo from... let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Good morning.
Good morning to the Honorable Minister there, too.
Good morning, Mr. Rankin.
Yeah. I want to congratulate you and your staff on proceeding to your expected income revenue. I'm so happy that we're finally getting results from people who are being paid high salaries. We're getting some results. I would hope now that you could talk to the ministry responsible for immigration now and let's get them working hard and get some results. I don't know if they're working hard, but I don't see a lot of results coming in that area. And I would also hope that some of all this revenue that you're getting that you didn't even expect to get, we would spend some of that on educating and training our local people, our real Cayman people, into the industry of tourism, and so that we can have a real Caymanians express the real Cayman kind to the people that visit our island. So I would hope that we start to see some sort of training, something that I've always heard that we need, and that every soul that get on a campaign platform always state that they're going to do, but nothing happened within that area. So I would hope you start to look into that also.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rankin. I do agree with you that the extra monies that weren't projected, most of that needs to go to things that are associated with tourism. But not only that, any revenue that we get, we do put it in a pool to disperse onto what is priorities in the country. And I think that you can see where the government has supported me as minister and efforts for tourism. So I want to thank my colleagues at this moment, particularly the Premier, and his support for allowing me to have the budget to do certain things for tourism. Like, say, for instance, you know that we're about to kick off the Waterfront Tourism Experience project right next to Lobster Pot. That takes money. The summer camp that we just announced, trying to focus on the education from a young age of kids to be tourism ambassadors. We have the UCCI hospitality program. We have the tourism scholarships, which we have increased. And before this money came in, we increased to have new pilot scholarships, which is double the amount of the regular scholarship for education. So there has been new things that weren't there before that the government has given me as minister the support to put forward, that has funding funding concerns associated with it, our funding effects. So I must say that my team has supported me to use some of those extra revenues that we have to affect tourism. For example, the craft market development will be done. There is something I'm going to be announcing in about 3 or 4 weeks from now that I think members of the opposition as well as the greater public will be happy about in respect to downtown. I don't want to give much more away from that, but those extra revenues, a reasonable portion of those more than projected revenues will go to some things to do with tourism. But there are other priorities that the government also has, like the housing matter, like transportation, like strategies to reduce cost of living, whether it's a CUC rebate program. So all the extra revenues then more than projected can't only go to tourism related matters, because there's other issues that we have to face. But I do thank you for the recognition that we're doing well, and I will pass on your message to my other colleagues in respect to trying to get more results. And we are doing this together as a government, so it's not only one particular minister. I don't do this by myself. Without the support of my colleagues, I couldn't get this work done. Every time I go in and I fight on behalf of my ministry within the caucus or cabinet discussion, I can only do it with their support. So this is not just my ministry or my team or me as minister, but the whole PAC government.
Okay, let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you, caller?
I'm good. I just wanted to find out, why is it so hard for Caymanians that apply for jobs, whether here or Cayman Brac? Why do we have to give a 10-year history of job experience when we don't have that?
Are you talking about with the civil service, or are you talking about private sector?
Cayman Airways, sir.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to it. As minister, many people may think I know all the details around the company, but because I'm not allowed to be involved in HR-related matters, is against the code of conduct as well as the civil service. Constitutionally, you're not allowed to be in any HR-related matters. I can lose my cabinet seat for that. So I don't know the answer for that, but I'm certain that the management and HR department has a logic for why you want 10 years experience. I'm assuming that it depends on the post as well. If it's just a cabin crew, you may not need 10 years, or if you're an agent at the front desk. But if you want to be a mechanic, for example, on the plane, I think that you'd want as much experience as possible. But I get your logic that there are going to be Caymanians who coming out of school or just only have 4 years or 5 years experience, and we have to be willing to give them an opportunity to prove themselves. Now, I can't dictate to the HR department, but I'll ask the question of my board to ask the management and CEO, what's the logic behind some of the requests for that amount of experience, and if it's mandatory or discretionary that they can use leverage on based on the applicant and what's best suited. But a legitimate question.
Okay, I want to thank that caller for that question as well. We're going to grab one more before we go to a commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yep. Good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning.
Public, and good morning to the minister in the room there.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Kenneth, just a few suggestions, humbly. Some of our old-time houses that we have amongst the districts west, they got a lot of them. Georgetown has quite a few as well still. When you look through the interior, Georgetown, and also Bordentown and the eastern regions may have some left too. I think it's the kind of the Wattle and Dobb style houses that are left as the old houses.
Correct.
Just a part of preserving our culture and heritage and also making it into a nice tourist attraction. I think sometimes when these properties are sold that these houses are on, we should have some kind of protection on these houses to be able to relocate them to certain areas. So just as an example, we had a nice one in West Bay the other day that was removed near the Fosters, and I spoke to the owners of Fosters, and the gentleman explained to me what was happening there. So that was already allocated to go somewhere else. But we also have a piece of government property in the fork of the road going on Town Hall Road and also on Northwest Point Road. So just as an example, just as an idea, imagine if we had one of those nice old houses. They're so uniquely built and so different in every way. If we had one of them placed there on our property that used to be Mr. Floyd Bush's property, and that now was a tourist information center. Just in your minds, I kind of envision what I'm seeing. So on the lead up to the front doors, we can have old Cayman icons, statues of old Cayman icons, and you walking on a little gravel pathway, just like how the old people did it, so we can fix it right back up with the conch shells and the gravels and the sand and everything, just like how the old people did it. That in itself would be a great tourist attraction, because the remaining old house that's left there in West Bay, thousands of tourists take pictures of that every year. That's an attraction. But just think of this. All these icons, all these people that gave Cayman value, all our parents and all those important people of our communities, we could have statues of them there, and we could have QR codes on these on the statues of these folks. So any visitor that comes can just easily scan the QR code, and then that QR code can give you all the information of the relevance of this individual that they're scanning. Plus, then it could lead into other links that could give more information on the Cayman Islands, its history, its people, its culture, whatever. It's endless the amount of things that we can add into the informational bank that we could use to expand our horizons globally, just from something like that, an attraction. That is just one, and that's not only. I'm not only saying do it west. I'm saying do it throughout the whole entire Cayman Islands, and even Little Cayman and Cayman Brac as well.
Okay.
But they seem to get left out a lot. Last thing.
We're going past a commercial break. I'm going to ask you to be very quick, please.
Could I hold?
No, we have other callers backed up, so we won't be able to allow you to do that.
Let me just be really quick then.
Sure.
So, Kenneth, out in the middle of the harbor there, that little piece of rock, that little small piece of rock like an island.
We used to call it the Key.
The Key, right. So just imagine now if we had some statues out there saying he has founded upon the seas, and our statues there that as the cruise shippers are coming in, that's like a beacon, like that's something they're seeing from a distance. So that'd be very unique, something real Caymanian, but built quite well with some of our local artists like Al Ebanks and Ray Banker and the rest of those local artists there. Also the Keen Barkers, you can use the forefathers of Stingray City and put statues out there, same thing. Instead of visitors will see it's a new attraction, a new way. We give Cayman a new flavor.
Caller, I think the minister has gotten the gist of what you're suggesting, but he's always there for you to contact him as well with suggestions so he can spend more time with you. Before we go to the commercial break, Minister, if you can think about this when we return, this person says, please ask the minister what is his plan for all the folks who work in cruise tourism should the ships decide to pass us by because of our lack of a cruise docking facility. We're going to take a commercial break. How many callers we have on hold, Ms. Susan? We have one caller. We're going to make that last caller because the minister has several questions to answer as well. So when we return, we will take the last caller. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
West Bay Pharmacy. Personalized medicine, customized care to meet your specific needs. Your body is unique to you. Your medicine should be too. Whether you're seeking individual-specific medication, correct size dosages, or simply better tasting medicine, ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about how compounding at West Bay Pharmacy can increase your treatment options, not only for your family, but for your pets too. West Bay Pharmacy, open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Sundays and most holidays from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
The STEPS 2023 National Health Survey is now in full swing, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness would like to thank the community for their ongoing support of this endeavor. Participants who have completed Steps 1 and 2 of the survey are reminded to complete Step 3 by July the 31st. Any survey participant needing additional support or information can contact nhwsteps@gov.ky or call 936-4969.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN Money Transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show with the Honorable Kenneth Bryan this morning. We do have a caller. We're going to that caller. But just a little, a bit of trivia for you, if you want to call it that. I was looking at a research paper in relation to the tip. It's called the tip perception of the hotel employees. Wage or reward is the question. Is it a wage or a reward? And the article talks about the fact that the word tip was derived from the Persian word bas. I hope I'm pronouncing right. B-A-H-S, bas. And settled into the Turkish language means to bestow, to give gratuitously. And it says, according to the Turkish Language Association, tip means extra money apart from the fee paid for a service. And it says in English, according to the Oxford Dictionary, tip means extra money, a small amount of extra money you give to someone serving you. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Pretty good. My question is to Mr. Bryan. I just want to say good morning to Captain Paul. I saw him sitting on his garage this morning when I crossed. Mr. Bryan, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir.
When in this country our elected officials are going to do something to help the Caymanians and stop doing things to affect the Caymanians, put a bit more time into research and looking into things and make sure that, it's not going to hurt this one or the other one. I'm concerned about things that are being done that is hurting Caymanians, especially those that things are very dear to their heart. And I'll get to the point, all right? There was a law that was passed regarding bringing in vehicles, anything under 2008, all right? That is the reason I said enough time and research don't go into things when they are being done, and it really upsets me because I see the problem out there, and a lot of you all should see the problem also. The problem in this country with vehicles that we need to stop is the Japanese vehicles, not the American vehicles that have been here from day one that can stand up. I got 2 vehicles, right, that if you take them, if you look at them, they look like 2 vehicles just come out of the show glass. And you got to tell me, if I wanted to sell one of them, that somebody, treasures, wanted to buy one of them, and I wanted to get another one, I can't replace it. The amount of vehicles that are killing people in this country are Honda Fits. You got more of these pieces of junk on the road right now. There's like 10 to 1 American vehicle or any other vehicle. And I am very upset with this whole thing about as a Caymanian, can have my choice in my country to have whatever I want after I get to this age. You can tell me that, no, we're not allowing you to have this. No, I can't accept that, Mr. Bryan. Something needs to be done about this. You need to look into this, and that law needs to be changed and stop the Japanese vehicles coming into this country. I'll wait for your response. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, caller, as well. Minister, over to you. We have about 6 minutes left.
I do recognize the caller's frustration, and by all means, I think that we all knew there was going to be some level of frustration by some percentage of our community in respect to this decision. It was not an easy one. It goes further than just simply, as a Caymanian, I should be able to get what I want. I hear his argument that majority of the problems that is being perceived or presented is more on the Japanese vehicle perspective. But if I can get another caller shortly as a Caymanian and say, I should be able to import a Japanese vehicle if I want to because I'm a Caymanian, I think the premise of why we made the decision wasn't only on the basis of what a Caymanian should be able to want to get, but more so on trying to control the importation of vehicles that just seemingly go straight into the dump within a very short period of time. Their safety records are not great. And we will still, it's not a perfect piece of decision by way of limitations of the years. But what you'll have is a lot less vehicles that end up in the dump very quickly. And we're seeing where cars are imported and within 2 or 3 years it's on the side of our roads. And the pressures on the traffic is also another concern. I think the reduction in vehicles, and I did say to my colleagues, I think we should have done the public transport first before we did this reduction in cars, because we want to make sure people can be transported from one point A to point B. But we needed to do something within a quick period, because a public transportation system is going to take a little bit longer than just one term, because it takes a very severe investment and a lot of infrastructure implementation by way of roads and so forth. I think the caller also spoke about antique cars, older cars that are in good condition. There are provisions in the changes, and though the changes came under Customs and Border Control, so I'm not super efficient with the wording of it, but I know that there is provisions in there that if a car is older than a certain age, it's then considered an antique and can be bought. So if there's a particular type of vehicle that you're in love with, whether, old Ford Mustang or a Chevy truck or something like that, that I know my seniors, have a distinct love for. And you, like he said, what if I found one of them again and I wanted to get another one just like it? Why couldn't I get it? So I would encourage you, if you could, to try to get the changes within the regulation. You can go to Parliament, they can happily give it to you. And there's a section in there that talks about when a car becomes antique, and I think it may be 20 years. So if that's what you're speaking of, I'm not sure if that's exactly what you were referring to, but I had a similar situation where the elderly Caymanian called me upset about it and said, I have this beautiful car that I just purchased over there and it's getting refurbished and it's an old antique that I love. And he was upset because he thought he couldn't bring it in. But when we checked the law, because of the age, it can be brought in. So there's a difference between antique vehicles that are in good condition that can be brought in and ones that are just cheap cars that end up on our streets. And I know that not everybody was going to be happy about this decision. I really hope that we can find better solutions that we can accommodate circumstances like yourself, sir. The last thing I want to know is I'm involved in any kind of change to hurt somebody, a Caymanian's life in any particular way. That's not my goal. I think the government's goal was to try to find a way to curb the exorbitant amount of vehicles that are coming in, the heavy traffic on the roads, try to encourage people to take public transport or to carpool. And obviously, some casualties in these circumstances. Not everybody's going to be able to get what they want. But that happens in many jurisdictions, too. We're not always going to have exactly what we want, and it's the better, greater interest for everybody. So, again, I hope my answer is maybe not the best, but I hope it satisfies our response to you. So.
Mm-hmm. Quick reminders, things that you want to remind
yes,
people.
First off, thank you so much for having me on, OC. It was a pleasure to be on here. It was good to talk to the audience today. I want to particularly remind everybody about the minimum wage. In the minimum wage committee, who is getting ready to come out into.
I think Susan has that scrolling on the on
perfect. Good. That's awesome. We're getting up to date,
YouTube
man.
As well. Oh,
YouTube,
yes.
So the Minimum Wage Advisory Committee, who is going to give us a report before the end of this year for us to decide on the minimum wage, will be hosting a district meetings in Grand Cayman from August the 7th to the 13th. And I want to encourage everybody, please, and go and tell the committee what you feel about the minimum wage, what your concerns are, whether you think it is a good thing, a bad thing, how much you think it should be, and why. This is time for you to come out. Also, they'll be having meetings in Cayman-Brac and Little Cayman on the 12th and the 13th of August. They will be releasing the dates and locations of each district meeting in the near future. If you have any questions about these meetings, you can call 326-3468, or you can email questions at minimumwage@gov.ky. They're currently doing an online survey right now. If you don't think you're going to be around for the district meetings to give your opinion, they would love to hear from you right now, and you can do that by going on to SurveyMonkey to take the survey, and you can be a voter or non-voter, Caymanian, non-Caymanian, student or retiree, business owner or employee. If you make the minimum wage or you don't make the minimum wage, they want to hear from everybody, but we just don't want any visitors populating the survey. The link for the survey is www.surveymonkey.com/r/MWAC23. Or if you are on Facebook, you can go at Minimum Wage Cayman to find the link. Or if you're on Instagram, at Minimum Wage KY. Again, that survey ends on the 31st of this month. So please go and do your part. God bless you all for listening today. Thank you for allowing me in your homes, your workplaces, and spending some time with you. OC, was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Minister, for being here as well. I want to thank everyone who participated. Yes, we did receive lots of WhatsApp messages. I tried to include as many as I could into the questions as well. Of course, we know that 2.5 hours simply isn't enough time because it goes by fairly quickly, but we do have sponsors that we have to recognize as well. I want to just say to everyone, have a great weekend. Please stay safe. Don't forget to join Sterling Drainey Banks at 12:15 for talk today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these 3 beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. And JN Money. From abroad to yard. Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066. And by the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Visit gov.ky/steps to learn more. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.
Radio Cayman.
The voice.
The heart. The soul of the Cayman Islands.